I am Dr. Darin Waters. I am the Deputy Secretary for the Office of Archives and History, overseeing everything related to history and the preservation of our history and culture in the state of North Carolina. I started out as a probation parole officer, worked with the City of Raleigh some on the Board of Commissioners for the Housing Authority, chaired that commission before going on to graduate school. Did my master's degree at North Carolina State University, PhD at Chapel Hill, and then went on to be a professor at UNC Asheville out in Asheville, North Carolina, which is my home where I was born and raised. My undergraduate degree was in political science, but I decided to go the history route for graduate school, how to analyze research, what to look for, what is important to include. All of those things I think are key elements to what it takes to actually do this job and to do it well. But I would also say that what has prepared me for this job is also just loving history. I have a passion for history. So reading a lot has been key, I think, and traveling, visiting historic sites, not only here in North Carolina, but throughout the country. The time and the work that I did as an administrator at UNC Asheville, overseeing the community engagement office there, has been important as well. The university really was making a strong commitment to engage the community in a very different, more intentional way, connecting with communities that we characterize as largely unrepresented communities that haven't had a lot of outreach. So it was a really fun job working with many of our community leaders, providing them with resources that they needed to be successful in their work. You have to be a good listener, especially when you're out in the community, working with people who we have a responsibility to hear their stories, to collect those stories, and definitely writing skills. I think you could probably sum all of those up by saying you got to be a good listener and a good communicator at the same time. Now being in this role, traveling across the state of North Carolina, going to the sites that are part of the state system are also deeply, deeply meaningful. I mean, the stories that you hear, that the people who work there, they're very passionate about the jobs that they do. In Asheville, one site that was very meaningful to me, which still exists, was an organization now called the YMI Cultural Center, which was known early on as just the YMI, the Young Men's Institute, which was an organization that was created with the support of George Vanderbilt, who built Biltmore House. But it was an organization that he started for the African American community at the behest of leaders of the African American community in Asheville. The uniqueness of the American story and North Carolina's role and part in the uniqueness and the unfolding of that story, I think it's just fun to think that you're kind of right in the middle of helping to preserve those important aspects of our history. The most challenging aspect is finding the resources that you need to support the work that we're doing. Where is the funding coming from? Can we get more funding? My job requires me to be analyzing documents and approving documents. I get the opportunity to read through manuscripts sometimes for certain programs that we might be doing. And as an administrator, there are a lot of meetings that you go to. So you try to balance the work that you do, going in and out of meetings, answering emails and phone calls, with being able to actually get out in the field and actually visit people. But the things that I love the most is when I'm able to kind of walk into the State Archives office and maybe talk to some of the patrons who are there, and maybe even get an opportunity to do some of my own research, because you can make out the time to work on some of your own special projects. There's this great historical continuity that we all participate in. So America, I think this country, while it has its challenges, the needle has moved more closer to the ideals that we set out for ourselves as a country from the very beginning. So I think it's important for us to kind of revisit what it is that we said we wanted to be in order to see what it is that we need to do to continue to work towards that. So it's important for all the citizens of the state of North Carolina, all races, all genders, be able to see themselves represented in the stories that we tell about this great state of ours.